Hey, everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome back into our six-part interview series on our post 2024 NHL draft hopes and thoughts about how our teams did. I interviewed the crew of Talking Habs and Don't Puck with Media, and I asked them this question, and that is, did your team get better when Free Agent Frenzy Day finished, and did you like the signings your team made? And this is what we all had to say.
I gave my girlfriend a nudge, wink, wink, like, hey, my birthday's in 11 days. You know what to get me? No, nudge, wink, wink, size large. But
yeah, where'd he go?
I'm the Canadians on day one of free agency.
Free Agent Frenzy Day, I did not expect Montreal to do much, and was right. They didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did get better. I know we only, made a minor league type of signing, depth guy, and
the Flyers didn't make any signings. To the they just did some in-house cleaning. Re-signed Garnett Hathaway. When they didn't have to.
So they actually didn't sign anyone outside of free agency, outside of like maybe a few depth guys that are going to be flipping between the AHL and NHL, more AHL guys.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed Free Agent Frenzy. I think they addressed every single need that Boston needed.
They did sign Barry Boulay, basically maybe a third-line center, fourth-line center, that type bottom six guy, minimal contract.
Yeah, I would actually say that. Despite the team being a bit inactive, I mean, we signed a depth guy in Barry Boulay. Of course, we did extend Juraj Slafkovsky as well.
So many rumors over the years about Barry Boulay coming to Montreal, although he finally did. It's an okay signing. I have no problem with it.
We stood pat. We signed Barry Boulay, who could be a fourth-line guy. I'd assume he's probably the first call-up at center. Maybe Oliver Kapanen ahead of him, but Barry Boulay, good fourth-line guy. I like his offensive potential, which is still really what it is offensive potential.
So they re-signed him, got him locked up, for 2 more years. Re-signed, Igor Zamula. So they got all their RFAs, done and stuff.
The Zamula contract, I think, was a little too high for my taste. That was the contract I liked the least. I wouldn't have minded if they found a way to trade him.
Jeremy Swayman, as of today of this recording, is still not signed, but the Bruins have $9.3 million in cap. I'd be really surprised to see him get $9 million. I have him at 8 to 8.75, somewhere in that range.
But I think inking Slafkovsky to that long-term deal, I think automatically makes the Habs better long-term, because now that big 3 line is locked up.
Big signing was Slafkovsky, and that's a signing on Free Agent Frenzy Day, even though he's still signed for 1 more year.
Of course, Slav, probable top-line guy for the next decade, might end up being on the second line of Demidov's, all that he's advertised to be. I love this deal, because if Slav waits until the end of the year, he could have gotten $9-10 million, honestly. But as we came to find out, he just worried about the 8 years. He didn't care about the AAV, how much he was making. He just wanted the 8 years. So it seems we could have offered him $2 million for 8 years and he would have accepted. No, they probably wanted like $6 million. They went up to 7. He said, sure. And we see what Slafkovsky can be. And having him here long term just makes the team better automatically, I feel.
They extended Garnett Hathaway for another 2 years, which I like. I think he's a really good, perfect bottom 6 guy. He fights. He's good PK guy. Good leader for the locker room. He's got cup. I think he was on the Capitals when they won the cup.
Me, I'm happy. I am happy at the lack of inactivity, because you're looking. I don't see that there was that player that the Flyers possibly could have had.
We got Elias Lindholm. People are debating the contract on that, and I kind of understand it, but I really don't. The guy's 1 year removed from being consistently at 0.8 points per game. A down year is allowed. I don't think it's a sign of regression or anything like that, especially on a team where now he's going to be the 1C. It's not going to be an argument.
Maybe trade, yes. But, in terms of free agent signings, we knew going in, and I say we, like media and the fans as well, knew that they weren't going to be very active on free agency day. Danny's been vocal about that.
Yeah.
Keith Jones has been on record saying that as well. At some point, you have to trust what they're putting out there, maybe not entirely, because there's always that smoke screen that they try to put out.
The Eric Johnson signing is whatever, 1 year deal, $1 million, and I guess they've been using him to talk to Mitchkov and relay stuff with him, so that's pretty good. And obviously, they got Matvei Mitchkov over, which is the best thing. They announced his ELC, I think, the second day of free agency.
Yeah.
First or second day, I don't remember.
Something like that, but yeah.
So that was a big move. They got their future superstar over, which is great.
Keeps that number one line, or at least 3 of the top 6, at under $8 million. But it's your top line right now for the next 6 to 8 years, depending on the player, or I guess 9 years, because Slav won't kick in till not this season, next one.
I do like what we did. I mean, we were apparently looking to make a move like Detroit did with re-signing Patrick Kane, 1 year, $4 million. We were apparently looking for something like that.
We didn't go out and make any big splashes. I didn't think we really needed to. Again, I think that'll be more for next season and seasons after that. I think going into this season, this is kind of the last year of sort of, that top line getting to where they need to be.
I really like what we did, though. We didn't overpay for any free agents. We didn't overpay for Brady Shkayan or Chandler Stevenson to improve the team now, not worrying about the future.
Aside from that, the Flyers really haven't been too active except for adding at Lehigh, adding some depth pieces, depth down the middle. The Flyers needed some center depth, and they have some players to provide that now.
Danny himself said in a post day one interview that he said, if we don't make any moves within the week, this is probably going to be the lineup you see going into free agency. Now, is it set in stone that they don't do anything? No, but I don't think it's very likely. I think this is what they're going to have.
I like the Nikita Zadorov acquisition, not trade. I'm going to keep messing those up. I think that solidifies the blue line. You'll have Lindholm, McAvoy, Zadorov, Carlo, and Lowry Peak, and then the seventh demon is Wotherspoon.
They got better just by signing Slav that way. As far as for next season, did they get better with free agent frenzy day? No, it didn't affect them in any way. It's not better, nor is it worse.
I'm glad that they didn't make any big splashes. They didn't, promise big money to guys that necessarily, shouldn't be here long term. I just love the way they did that. They still have a ton of cap room to play with, which is fantastic. I know guys like Arvid Xhekaj needs an extension. Cooley's extension should be worked out shortly. And so, yeah, I mean, they're doing what they need to do, again, to sustain winning long term, to sustain being a better team long term.
I am disappointed at the lack of trades that they've had.
As we've seen in the past, the Flyers being patient, and what happens, it never turns out good. So
I thought Lawton would be gone. I thought one of their wingers would be gone because they have such a logjam. The Flyers are loaded at the winger spot, especially right wing.
I'm really high on Oscar Eklund. I think that he can make a push for the big club, maybe not right away, but I think he's going to make an imprint in Lehigh and be possibly the first call-up. But the Flyers needed that center depth.
Yeah, I really liked the acquisitions. There were not many, and I don't think there needed to be many.
The signings, I'm glad they didn't end up making a stupid signing, but that's not like they had the cap to. But I'm a little upset that they didn't make a trade.
I think they're really stockpiling for 2025. They're putting all their eggs in the basket here. So, yeah, I'm happy due to the inactivity because I didn't want them to sign a player just to sign a player. The Flyers didn't have money, for cap wise and stuff. So you can't go after a top 6 forward. And that's what I would have wanted the Flyers to have done, try to obtain a top 6 center, but it was pretty unrealistic, this year.
Yeah. I was happy, but also upset to see DeBrusk go. I was just happy to see Grzelcyk go. I mean, he made $4 million a year and he was not playing in the playoffs. So I think he needed to leave.
It's kind of, they stayed whatever, but they made a good signing. What will Barry Boulay do here? I don't expect it'll be a ton, and he might not even make the team if Owen Beck takes that spot from him.
So, and you're looking at it, do you want them to go out and get another bottom six forward? They already signed one, Oscar Eklund.
Right.
They signed him well before. They signed him, I think, back in March or early April or something. So they already had that locked up, in terms of, him possibly making an imprint with the big club. So why just sign another bottom six forward that possibly blocks even a young prospect coming up through Lehigh?
I think the team technically got better if you want to include the Slav contract, because it is a bargain. It will be a bargain, and we're going to be able to afford players, especially with the cap going up.
A couple of the other veterans I was sad to see leave as well. I was hoping they would find a way to keep Pat Maroon, because he was a good leadership presence, I think, especially for the younger guys. Wasn't a huge fan of the acquisition of Korpisalo for Ullmark or Kastelic, but I think those were depth pieces that the Bruins will probably need if we're going to go for a playoff run in 2024, 2025.
They've got enough. They got their share of defensemen. I'm not really worried about that. The only thing they're lacking is probably a true scoring number one defenseman. But obviously, that's a big piece.
Yeah, overall. Yeah. Yeah, whatever that means.
Again, I can't say enough about how great of a job Kent Hughes has done. They're doing it perfectly. Very happy with the signings they made. Obviously, Slavkovsky at 8 years at 7.6.
But yeah, as of right now for next season, technically, no, we didn't get better. I'm very happy with what we did on free agency. The technical lack of moves, I guess you could say.
So I think overall, I'd give them a B+ in free agency.
Hey, everybody. I'm Rick. Welcome back into our interview series. I screwed that totally. Okay, we'll go with take two. Thanks for watching. If you like this, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please share this video.